Okay, let's do the depressing one. This is an unfortunate topic. This is going to include, police violence, and a kid getting killed by the police. We're not going to show the footage, obviously, because it's TOS. There's a cleanse. Okay, thank you. I'll open this for a little bit later. Like I said, we're not going to show the video because it's TOS. But the video is pretty devastating if you haven't seen it. This is about the Adam Toledo shooting. The police shot a 13-year-old as he was putting his hands up. Initial reports by the police, I believe, said that he had a gun in his hands when they shot him. It's not true. He doesn't have a gun in his hands in the video. So yeah, the cop shoots him point blank. Looks like in the chest, and the kid dies. So let's read about it. Video released Thursday shows a Chicago police officer fatally shooting 13-year-old Adam Toledo as he raised his hands in a Little Village alley on March 29th. The video comes from body cameras worn by police when an officer fatally shot Toledo on March 19th in Little Village. The Civilian Office of the Police Accountability, which is investigating the shooting, also released third-party video transmission from the city's Office of Emergency Communications, shot spotter recordings, case incident information, and tactical response arrest reports. This, by the way, is why body cameras on every police officer in America are so important. They already tried to say, even with the footage existing, that the kid was holding a gun at the time he was shot. The footage shows that was not the case. The kid was not armed when he was shot. He was putting his hands up to surrender. Okay? You can see this footage yourself. It's available online. It's in this article, but of course I can't show it for TOS reasons. The police will lie about this stuff. The police do and have lied about this stuff consistently. Only because there was actual objective video evidence do we know that this kid was killed in cold blood by a cop. Mayor Lori Lightfoot, the Toledo family's attorneys, and local leaders have asked people to remain peaceful as the footage is released. Lightfoot said it is excruciating to watch these videos, particularly footage that shows Toledo mortally wounded after an officer shot him. She and Little Village community leaders held a news conference where they said the video will raise strong emotions in people and urge people to protest nonviolently. Quote, "This is not something you want children to see," end quote, Lightfoot said. The family's attorneys, Adina Weiss Ortiz and Joel Hirschhorn, said viewing the videos was extremely difficult and heartbreaking for everyone present, especially for Adam's family. The attorney did not disclose what the family saw in the video, but said they are conducting their own investigation into his death as we seek justice for Adam and his family. The video shows the moments leading up to the officer shooting Toledo, the shooting itself, and the aftermath. Video taken from the front door of a Little Village church shows Toledo and 21-year-old Reuben Roman walking down the street before stopping at the corner of 24th Street and Sawyer Avenue, where it appears Roman fired shots at a target that is out of view. Toledo and Roman leave, video footage shows. Body camera footage shows an officer chasing Toledo through an alley, with the officer yelling at Toledo to stop. The officer catches up to Toledo, who appears to have stopped running near a gap in a fence between the alley and a church parking lot. Video from a different angle appears to show Toledo toss the gun behind the fence moments before he's shot. So he's already disarmed himself. He's thrown the gun away, presumably to try and hide it or something because he can't be in possession of a firearm because he's 13. Doesn't matter. Possessing a firearm when you're underage is not grounds to be murdered in cold blood in the street by the police. So he throws the gun away, is disarmed at this point. He disarmed himself and goes to put his hands up because the police officer is yelling at him to put your hands up, show me your hands. He starts to do that, turns around, and the cop shoots him. And then this motherfucker, this piece of shit cop, has the audacity, the goddamn audacity, to walk up and be like, "Are you okay? Where have you been shot? Where you fucking shot him, you piece of shit?" This video was so frustrating to me. Normally stuff like this doesn't bother me. I can look at it relatively clinically. I don't know what it was about this video that got to me, in particular, out of all the incidents of, like, police violence and police murder over the past couple of years, but this one got to me. This one got to me real bad. The officer flashes a strobe flashlight to Toledo and says, "Hands! Show me your effing hands!" Immediately after commanding Toledo to show his hands, the officer shot the boy at close distance. Toledo's hands were raised when he was shot, the footage shows. Footage released by the police does not show Toledo point or raise a gun at the officer at the end of the chase. Toledo does not appear to be holding the gun as the officer shot him. Toledo collapsed in the parking lot after being shot. The conclusion of the foot chase to the fatal shooting happened in only 1 second, said Brendan Denahan, Police Department Chief of Detectives. After the officer shot Toledo, he walked toward the boy and radioed for backup in an ambulance, the footage shows. Quote, look at me, are you all right? Where you shot, the officer says to Toledo, who is unresponsive. The officer lifts Toledo's sweatshirt to look for a wound and tells the boy, stay with me. The officer radios for someone to bring him a medical kit. Responding officers and the officer who shot Toledo then begin to treat the 13-year-old, performing CPR on the boy. The officer who shot Toledo walks away from the scene by himself. Minutes later, a police supervisor radios in to officers on the scene to turn their body cameras off. Police supervisors radioed in to the officers on the scene to turn their body cameras off. If anyone ever wonders why people say ACAB, read them that one. COPA initially said it would not release videos of the shooting due to Toledo's age. But amid mounting pressure, the agency reversed course and said it would release videos within 60 days. The office first invited Toledo's family to watch the videos, which they did Tuesday. Someone wants a link to the article? Sure. The family asked COPA to delay releasing the videos, but officials said they would still come out. People can view all the material online. Toledo, a 7th grader at Gary Elementary School, was laid to rest Friday. His family thanked Little Village community members for the outpouring of support they have received since his death. Adam's memory can best be honored by refraining from violence and working constructively for reform, the attorney said. Lightfoot acknowledged trust between the police and many communities in Chicago has been broken by years of abuse, but she urged people to, quote, wait until we hear all the facts before making up their minds on the case. Lightfoot said she had seen the videos. She would not comment on what they show, though she said Toledo did not shoot at any police officers. Before Lightfoot saw videos relevant to the shooting, someone described what they showed to her. In a press release, April 5th, she repeatedly said Toledo had a gun. Liar. At least when he was actually shot. Toledo's family is still critically in the throes of grief, Lightfoot said Wednesday. I want to be respectful of the family, but I also think something like a police-involved shooting, particularly under these circumstances, is important for us to be transparent. Peaceful protests and memorials have been organized to honor Toledo and to call for police to be held accountable. But the city is prepared for potential unrest in the wake of the video's release. More police have been stationed downtown, and large trucks have been prepared to block neighborhood commercial strips to protect businesses from looting like that experience last summer. The officer who shot Toledo has been placed on administrative duties for 30 days, which is routine protocol, David Brown previously said. COPA is investigating, and Lightfoot said she has urged the agency to be expeditious. Just moments before this video was made public, WGN reported a prosecutor, quote, failed to fully inform himself before speaking about the shooting in court. Prosecutor James Murphy claimed over the weekend that Toledo had a gun in his hand when he turned towards the officer. The video contradicts this statement. An attorney who works in this office failed to fully inform himself before speaking in court, Sarah Sinovic, a spokesperson for Cook County State Attorney Kim Fox, told WGN. You know, when a citizen misinforms themselves and speaks on that topic in court, we usually call that perjury. Funny how that works. Police have said the shooting happened about 2:30 a.m. March 29th in the 2300 block of South Sawyer. Officers were responding to a shot spotter alert of 8 shots fired in the 2300 block of South Sawyer Avenue when they saw 2 males in an alley. One of them had a gun, David Brown said Monday. The officer chased, which resulted in an armed confrontation, Brown said. An officer shot once, fatally hitting Toledo in his chest. Brown has repeatedly refused to answer questions about which of the males had a gun. Prosecutors have said Toledo was holding a gun and was told twice to drop it before the police officer shot him. After Toledo was killed, a member of Brown's staff called him, waking him up, and told the superintendent the subject seemed very young, Brown said. Brown told the officers to try to identify Toledo. There was no identification on Toledo's body, and the man who had been with Toledo gave officers a false name for the boy, Brown said. We lost considerable time trying to identify Adam because of the wrong name, Brown said. Officers checked Toledo's fingerprints 3 times but did not find matches in their records, nor could they find reports of him in their open cases of missing people, Brown said. Detectives then began to review cases of missing people who had returned home, and one found a case report that matched Toledo, who had still not been identified, Brown said. On Wednesday, 2 days after Toledo was killed, police contacted his mother, Elizabeth Toledo, and told her the description of her son matched that of an unidentified person in the morgue. Elizabeth Toledo went to the morgue and confirmed the boy killed by police was her son. The boy had been reported missing, but he returned home and was there March 27th, during which time a detective called Elizabeth Toledo, and she told police her son was no longer missing, which is why his missing persons case had been closed. Adam Toledo left home again late March 27th or early March 28th, and the family thought he was missing during the time police were trying to identify his body. Yeah. Police misconduct and murder committed by the police of unarmed suspects. It's downplaying it to say it's out of control. I don't have a lot to say about this that hasn't been said a million times by other people, but something has to change. This isn't sustainable. People just straight up cannot handle dealing with this shit. Not okay. Anyway.